Welcome to season 2 of No Shelf Control, the podcast with books, booze, and banter, hosted by authors for readers, because let's face it, we are all bookworms at heart.
This season, we'll be chatting about book-to-screen adaptations and trending BookTok books. I'm Lindsey Sparks.
And I'm Lindsey Pogue. Grab a cocktail, kick back, and enjoy the show.
So welcome to episode 10 of the second season of No Shelf Control, everybody. This episode is going to be fun, I think. This episode features a book that has been popular on BookTok and Bookstagram, and that book is a very spicy alien romance called Ice Planet Barbarians. It's this pretty little book right here. This is the fancy version, the special edition. If you look it up online, there's like a real people cover also that is spicy. And like as the books go on, there's like 22 books in the series or something. As the books go on, the covers get more explicit. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, well, so what I was going to tell you earlier, and then I was like, I'll wait and tell you on the podcast, is I was at Target yesterday, and I was like, I'm going to treat myself to a book. And I saw that special edition one, and I was like, oh, this is not the version I'm listening to on my phone with the different covers. So I was like, oh, obviously didn't buy it because I'm already finished listening to it. But yeah, I was like, oh, that's fun though. I like
it's really
more
pretty.
Artsy. Yeah, I like that it's more artsy. Yeah, it's not real people.
I love it. I think it's really pretty.
Yeah, it is really pretty.
Like I'm not a huge fan of people on covers, but I really like this. I think it's really neat.
Anyway. This book. Yeah, it's gonna be fun to talk about.
Okay, so it's Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. I actually don't know what the series is called. Do you?
I'm assuming.
This is the first book in the series.
I don't think it has it doesn't say anything on the cover or in the description, so I don't know.
Let's see. I don't know.
Ooh, I can try it in here.
Ice Planet Barbarians.
Yeah, it makes sense.
That's it. So, yeah, like I said, it's a spicy sci-fi alien romance. It is, at least this book is entirely off of Earth, so it is very sci-fi, and very alien.
Yes.
And
from start to finish. Yeah.
So I think we can already say that this episode is going to get the explicit tag. Just be forewarned.
Yeah.
Everybody. We're probably going to talk about the funny alien fetus. So
yeah.
So before we get to all of that, tell me what you're drinking tonight.
I am just drinking a little bit of bubbles.
Oh, fun.
Same old, nothing fancy, but delicious. So
is that bubbles left over from your I finished a book? Pop a bottle?
Actually, it's funny that you say that because I was trying to think of what I might make for it, because I haven't had anything the last couple of days. Well, yesterday. And but I was like, well, what should I have? Because she knows the date, Lindsey knows the day before I was celebrating, so I had opened a bottle of bubbles, and yesterday I didn't have anything, so I was like, what should I make today? And then I was like, wait a second, I think I have an open bottle of bubbles. So yes, that's what this is. This is my celebration of writing 3 books in essentially 2 months. So this is what's left of that bottle.
It's been a crazy summer. Yeah. 100%. I am drinking, shocker, red wine.
Yay!
So cheers.
It's getting despite my tank top, because it's always hot, or it feels like it's always hot here, it's starting to get it cool. So I have a feeling I'm gonna be switching over soon to some reds. So I might be joining you.
It's been getting cooler here too, so I'm excited for my drinking preferences to be weather appropriate. So yeah. What are you working on right now?
Well, actually, I happily report that yesterday I took the entire day off.
Yay!
Well, that's not true. I mean, I worked for like 3 or 4 hours because I wake up really early. So I worked until 9:30. Was like 3 or 4 hours for me. And then I took the rest of the day off, and I binge watched a show that I love called Gentleman Jack on HBO Max. And so I watched a bunch of that, and then my sister and I went to a cheese and wine class in Napa, and that was super fun. And they were all the blue ribbon winner cheeses that this woman who puts on these classes. So we got to taste all of them and learn about them, and that was fun. Yeah, so that's what I did yesterday, because I finished like I was saying, those 3 projects, and it just feels really good. So you and I obviously have our project we keep talking about that's done. It's with beta readers. Sea of Storms is with my editor. I got that off my plate this month, and as of 2 days ago, I wrote The End and Land of Fury, the last book that I have slotted for the Runeland series, is officially off my plate. So yeah, I'm just like, I took mostly a whole day off yesterday. I worked today, but I'm trying to just have fun this week and not like super stressed out, except for the things that we have had to deal with.
Yeah.
We won't talk about.
No, we won't.
But other than that, like, I'm trying to just like catch up on all the things, but I do have an announcement because I feel like I've kind of been hemming and hawing around it. And it's happening next week. So September 20th, The City of Ruin audiobook is coming out, and I finished listening to it last week. Podium produced it. The Celine narrator, her name is Rebecca Woods, and she's phenomenal, and I cannot wait for everybody to hear her. So it's currently available for pre-order, and yeah, you can get it on Apple, and I think you can only pre-order it on Audible though. So anyway, I'm super excited about that, and within the next couple of months they're going to be getting the script for Sea of Storms. So I don't know, I'm just really excited. This just for listeners out there who have listened to any of my other audiobooks, like this is all British accent, so this is going to be different. So but super fun. And I just want to share, I know I've kind of talked to you about this, but I picked Rebecca to be the narrator because City of Ruin is a kind of mashup of Beauty and the Beast and Jane Eyre. And it was so funny when I had never heard of her until Podium had given me a list, a few names of who they recommended, some big names too, which, you and I have talked about. And I was like, oh, I really want to pick them because I know they're big names. But when I went to listen to her stuff, they were her number 1 recommendation. And when I went to look at her stuff, I was like, it felt so meant to be, because she has like 2 pages on her website of demos you can listen to of all of her accents for all the different countries that she can do and all the different accents. And one of them was Norse and British, right? And so that's what this whole series is. So I was like, okay, well, that's kind of feels like it's, a few points for her. But her demo excerpt is from Jane Eyre. So I was like, it just feels like it has to be.
It's meant to be.
Yeah. And so I think she did a phenomenal job. And it feels really good because I didn't get to, it's not a process where I get to be super involved. So I didn't get to listen to the audition and be like, no, you're not good for the part, or, oh, you're great for the part. Like I had to just kind of go with my gut, and it really worked out with her. So I'm super excited. So anyways, it's Rebecca Woods, and it's Neil Thorne, who actually works with you on one of yours, your Song of Scarabs and Fallen Stars, and that's a kind of a mouthful, isn't it?
It is. It
Song
really
of Scarabs and Fallen Stars. Yeah. So, anyways, he's gonna be working on the whole series with me, both of them. So it's gonna be fun, and I'm excited for everybody to hear it. So
nice.
Ta-da! Yeah, I'm excited.
Yay!
So,
Yeah.
my dad is actually an avid audiobook listener. He doesn't read books, and I know he gets their newsletters and stuff, so I just made sure I forwarded him the newsletter that I got the other day from them that had my book featured on there. I was like, Dad, in case you missed this, like, here you go.
Oh, that's awesome.
You can pre-order it if you want. Anyway, he did. I mean, he doesn't listen to I'm not he's like Star Wars, that's
yeah,
like,
I know. I knew that.
Yeah. So, but it was just like, he like Amazon, whatever. He's like, I know what Amazon is, but I don't get stuff there. He can't relate to it. But Podium, he's like, that's where he gets all his audiobooks. So I just thought it was fun. I was like,
That's
all right,
so
Dad,
cute.
maybe for you, this resonates a little bit more. So
Yeah.
anyway, it's fun.
I actually need to reach out to Neil to see if he wants to, if he's going to be interested in doing the Nick parts for like because on my Patreon I have the Nick Chronicles, which is like the Cat to Bog Chronicles retold from Nick's perspective, and that's going to be eventually included in the special editions for that series. But I'm going to want him to, well, because he's the only person who's ever voiced Nick, so I was like, I'm going to need to see if he'll be willing to read those. But I don't know when I'll do it, because I don't know when I'll have them. I don't know. I don't need to think through my whole process on air.
Anyway, that's fun though. Yeah.
What am I working on? Well, as you know, from our last meeting, I had a crummy week last week. Like my brain was just fried. And I think it was like a combination of like the fact that we wrote 100,000 word book and revised it and got it ready for beta readers in 2 months.
Yeah.
And while working on other stuff. And also I had like a big socializing big group things that week, like back to back. So I took my kids to an extremely crowded children's museum, and I went to the like fair, extremely crowded fair. And I am an extreme introvert, as you know. And I definitely suffer from introvert burnout when I'm in too crowded of places. And it happens anytime I go to a conference for author stuff, and it happens anytime I go to Comic-Con or anything. I just know that like the next week or two is just worthless for me, because it's like it's too much input for my brain or something, and it just stops working, at least creatively. Anyway, so I finally put 2 and 2 together, and it was just like creative fatigue combined with introvert burnout was just like wiped me out last week. But I'm doing a lot better this week, and I was able to finish my my episode of the Nick Chronicles, and I finished it today. It comes out tomorrow, and I can hopefully get the next episode done too, so I don't have to stop writing what I'm going to be writing to write it. So yeah, I mean, Nick can usually bring me out of a funk. He's just like a really fun character voice to sink into, because he doesn't care about anything. And so
he's like your id.
Yeah, he is.
Like just let shit go.
Yeah. So he's like more extreme than Kat. Kat's usually pretty good for that, but Nick is just like no holds barred. So that's been really helpful working with him in my head. And then I have fallen into the enormously deep rabbit hole of AI art again. But there's a bunch of new apps that I had never tried from the last time that I fell into the AI art rabbit hole, which I think resulted in me discovering Artbreeder. So this had to be like a year ago at least, when I found Artbreeder, which is what we both use for our character portraits. And at that time, I think I had Wombo Dream going, but now I found some new ones, and I know I got you started on Wonder, which is really fun, especially for people who are new to AI art. It's pretty easy to use.
Yeah, for sure.
If you do try it, dear listeners, you're going to get some horrifying results. Just be warned. Like,
yeah, they're traumatizing. I tried to show Dennis, and he was like, this is creepy. And there's a lot of nudity as well. There's a lot of nudity as well. And
it's like really weird boobs.
Yeah.
Really weird looking boobs going on in weird places. I don't know.
Weird hands. Anyway.
Yeah, the hands are scary. Disturbing.
Every time I see them, it reminds me of like, I know you're not an Aliens fan, but I think of like, I do
like Aliens.
Well, it's the one Resurrection when she has like the half human, half alien baby. Oh, it reminds me of like, they look creepy like that with these weird long, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But it's sometimes I'm laying in bed. I was telling Lindsey, like, I'm laying in bed, I can't sleep at night. And then I'm making one of those and I'm like, I don't know if this is helping or hurting. These results are creeping me out.
Yeah.
But there's some
sometimes
beautiful ones though too. There are some beautiful ones.
Yeah. Wonder is great, is the best I've found for people. So yeah. Like Wombo Dreams people were not even human looking at all. Like at least sometimes Wonder, like one of my favorite ones that I've done was from Wonder, and it's of Dell from our series.
Oh, the one with the dress.
Oh my God, it's so pretty. She is stunning. I need to put that one in my Discord. I've been so anyway, people listening to me blabber on about AI art. I have been posting some of my favorites in my Discord server, which I'll link to in the show notes. And you can check them out because I have it broken down by series in there. So you can go in and see the ones that are non-terrifying. Some of them are still a little terrifying because I've been doing a lot of Loki from All World Online, and he's a Cheshire cat. So if you see a realistic cat with a Cheshire grin, it's scary.
It's funny, I actually am going to be sharing mine with my Patreon people, but I never thought to put it in my Discord. I don't know. Interesting.
It's a great place to share it because Discord is like all of the AI art apps have huge Discord communities.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I was like, this is great. Maybe I can, find some new readers that way too. So anyway, I do want to mention the newest one that I found before we move on is Night Cafe. I just told you it. Is that what I told you?
Yeah, that's what you told me.
Night Cafe. I'm super into it. I tried Pixels AI for a few days and I liked it, but the platform is newer and I feel like there's still a lot of bugs that they're working out. But Night Cafe seems more established and is a lot more, I don't know, polished interface. Yeah. Like the interface is essentially the same. It just works better. I'm not saying that the art you get is better. It's just like the usability is functionality. I don't know. The UX is
check it out.
More established. So yeah. What are you reading?
Funny you should ask. Actually, I believe it or not. So I mean, as you know, I read a lot of romance, and for book club we were going to read this book called The Stopover. You don't have to put that in the show notes, but we were going to read this book, and it was close second. And then I happened to get book 2, which is the same series, because we really wanted to read it because we wanted something. We've been reading such depressing, like kind of terrifying things that we were like, let's read like just some steamy shit. Like, let's just read something like gonna like get us hot and bothered, something way different than our kids thinking we're listening to the crazy psychopath stuff, And so anyway, but then book 2, which is called The Takeover by TL Swan, is free in Prime Reading. And I was like, oh, I'll check it out. I'm in between books or whatever. One of the best romances I've ever read. Not because the writing is phenomenal, but the story, it was so good. It was one of those books where like, it's super steamy and you think it's going to be one thing at the very beginning, like this big billionaire comes in and he's going to take over her company or whatever. But then you get like, I don't know, like a quarter of the way through the book, and it's like there's so many layers and there's so much depth to it. And I can't remember the last book that I read and I actually got teary-eyed. Like, wow. It was really good. I know. And I wasn't expecting it. So I think that's why it felt very poignant, but it's deep on a lot of levels. And like I said, it's not like the writing is super phenomenal or anything, but it's okay. But it's like the story, like the way that she builds her characters is just really good. They have a lot of layers and they have a lot of like real life shit going on. And I don't know, it just was really good. So I really recommend The Takeover by TL Swan. I think she's an Australian author. I'm sure once everyone sees the covers, if you read any romance, I'm sure you've seen it before. And then right now I'm listening to, obviously aside from the other things that we've been listening to for the podcast, but I am listening to another Lucy Score book. This is what we picked for book club. It's called Things We Never Got Over. And it's a really nice, it's another one of those like really kind of steamy, like nice rom-coms, but it also has a lot of layers too. So it's not just, I really enjoy it. So far, those are the 2 things that I'm listening to / reading. Aside from, I've been reading a lot of romance apparently because we just read the Ice Planet Barbarians. So, I have a lot of sexual reading going on in my life right now, I guess. Anyway, but yeah, so I guess that just goes to show how much I needed a break from life because oh boy.
Yeah.
Anyways, how about you? What are you reading?
So I had to pause my reread of The Hollows. by Kim Harrison.
Echo.
Yeah. To read Ice Planet Barbarians, but I read that super fast. So now I'm back to The Hollows. So I just started yesterday, I want to say, book 3, which is Every Which Way But Dead. And I am still loving it.
Nice.
Again. So yeah, it's been long enough since I've read the first part of the series that it all, like, I know what's coming, but some of it still feels new, you know, like it's been a couple of years. So
yeah, good.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm having fun. I think that's all I'm reading.
It's okay. We don't know. It's like comes in waves, you know, like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I'm just excited because I have a feeling now that I'm not like just every waking moment working on something. I'm like, oh, I can actually enjoy reading. I have so many historical fantasies.
Yeah, you do.
And yeah, I do. Where's my mind? And I have so many books that I've been buying lately that I want to read. So I'm really excited to like have a moment. So anyway.
Well, you're gonna get another historical fantasy in the next couple weeks. I guess it's not fantasy, it's just historical.
But still, that'll be fun.
Never mind.
That's okay. It's still fun. It's still fun. I'm excited. All things on my list. That's the fun thing about what we're doing this season. It's all things that either people are raving about or we want to read. So, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Okay. Should we move into the book discussion?
Let's do it.
Okay. Before I read the description, consider this your spoiler warning, listeners. We're gonna spoil it. We're gonna spoil it. We're gonna spoil it all over the place.
We swear we've only had like 3 drinks. 3 sips.
I haven't had any. I mean, yeah. This is my, like, all the sips I've taken on camera are my first drinks tonight. I just can't function. So
it's all right. It's the end
generally
of the press.
Okay, so the description's super short, which is cute. You'd think being abducted by aliens would be the worst thing that could happen to me. And you'd be wrong, because now the aliens are having ship trouble and they've left their cargo of human women, including me, on an ice planet. And the only native inhabitant I've met, he's big, horned, blue, and really, really has a thing for me. He does. He really does.
Yeah. Okay, so we should dive into that one.
Yeah. Okay, tell me what format you read.
I listened.
So did I. I mean, I know I have the book. I did like look at the book a couple times because it was helpful for me to see like how names were spelled. Like Vectal. Vectal is the dude, and then we have Georgie, who's the chick. And so the audiobook is dual narrated. So I didn't look up their names. I'm terrible.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
What did you think about the narration?
Okay. I really loved the guy's narration. I thought he was really good. I didn't love the female narrator's accent.
Yeah, I struggled with it too.
Yeah. The character was from Orlando, but I felt like the Southern accent was over the top. And I mean,
it felt very Southern to me as well.
Yeah, my assistant is from Texas. She is very Southern, and she doesn't even sound that Southern. So I was like, this feels, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering because I kept thinking that too. It made me picture her differently in my head than what they were taught, like who she was in the book.
Yeah, same.
So,
I feel it did. Yeah. There was like a discrepancy, but
I mean, she did a good job. It's not that she was bad or anything. Like she did a good, and I think she got the personality through well. Because Georgie is a really fun character.
Georgie was a great character.
Yeah. But it's just, it was just like, I don't know. It kept pulling me out of the story because I kept picturing her as like super Southern Belle or something.
Yeah.
And I know that's not
yeah,
what she
it did
was
sound very
be.
Southern Belle, and it didn't seem to fit with
even her personality.
Character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So, I guess I didn't include this in the questions, but like overall, what did you think of the book?
I thought it was fun. It's interesting because it was short.
It was short. I actually
was
really appreciated that. Usually I
did
try
too.
to find longer, get your credits worth.
Yeah.
On Audible, but
it makes sense now though why there's so many books in this series because it left you essentially with a cliffhanger. So so it makes sense that that's where she would cut it off. But not in one of those cliffhangers where it was just like, oh my God, I'm dying. Like, I'm so angry. It wasn't that. It was a nice, like, okay, so we want to know where this is going to go with them. Because we all know, like, romance is supposed to be happily ever after, right? So this is kind of like the end of a chapter and they're happily ever after. You know it's going to get there. So it's, you know.
And I do want to say this is so like we said, it's like a 22 book series at least. And each book looks like it's a different couple that it focuses on.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that makes
I think
sense,
the second book is Liz and
that guy who she disappeared with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who she just that
who
guy totally had to be the one who was resonating and not fessing up to it.
Oh my God.
Who's doing that?
So that's one thing I have to say for this author. What's her name? Ruby Dixon.
Yeah.
She writes, I mean, I like that she wrote to the point. She got to the point. She didn't like hem haw around shit. Like she got to the point. She did great. Well, we'll talk more about like the book itself, but I feel like it was quick, it was fast paced but it wasn't too short. I really just like the pace in which she wrote everything. I feel like it was good and yeah.
And I feel like listeners need to appreciate the fact that you liked this book and it was like a sci-fi romance off-world. Like this is usually like way too far outside of your comfort zone. So I mean, she must have done something right to make you like it.
Yeah. And I can tell you what that is, but I can't remember all the questions, so that's why I'm trying not to give too much away. So we'll talk about it.
Okay.
But yeah.
So I'll move on. So like, what were your favorite things about the book? I have a really specific thing that isn't going to make a lot of sense to you, but
to me specifically?
Yes, to you specifically.
Oh, well, tell me, and then I'll tell you mine.
Because it relates to Stargate SG-1. So.
Oh, okay.
So there's an episode. So I know some of our listeners are SG-1 fans
for sure
because they're my fans, and
a
bunch of my fans are SG-1 fans. So for people who are fans of SG-1, which is the best Stargate ever, sorry Atlantis people, there is an episode called The First One. It's the one where Daniel Jackson first meets the Unis, and he gets like kind of kidnapped by the Unis, and then they become like buddies and stuff. There's no romance, but this was so like the first half of this was so like Daniel Jackson and the Unis between Georgie and Vectal. I was like, this is hilarious because they like couldn't communicate, and it was just really funny, and the way they were like learning language together. So I would recommend this even if you're unsure about this book or if you think it's going to be silly, which I was actually surprised by. I felt like it was not nearly as silly as I thought it was going to be. I would recommend this especially for Stargate people, if that's a weird connection.
No, I don't think so. I can see that. I can even see people like Star Trek just because I know they go to different worlds. No, I can see that though. I think I've seen some Stargate. I haven't seen a lot, but I've seen some, and why not? As long as you like really spicy stuff. I mean, that's the only.
So it is like that, but really spicy.
I mean, can we just be really clear? The very first scene where they meet each other, she wakes up to him eating her out. Like, I mean, that's legitimately like.
Yeah, and there's like a hilarious line. I'm gonna read it. Where is it? It wasn't a monster come to eat me. It was this monster who's come to eat me out.
Okay, so I think it's clear.
Let me just point out that that's been highlighted by almost 1,800 Kindle readers.
Well, and that's why I think was such a fun read, is because Georgie is realistic in a lot of ways. Despite the situation, she's a pretty believable character. Like she's like, her voice is very like, what the fuck is happening? You know, like, but at the same time, like, I know that I should be appalled, but it feels fucking really good. So what am I like? She's so real, and she's like that aunt that like your mom tells you to stop. You're gonna like you're gonna like rub off on, you're gonna like, you know, whatever the hell, like, I don't know. I just feel like she's like that person that like everyone's like gets embarrassed when because they just speak their mind, you know.
Yeah, they're
and
like,
then
oh my gosh, shut up.
But I love it. I love it. And so, anyways, that kind of goes back to what I was saying about how Ruby Dixon's really good about getting to the point. Like she doesn't. When you start the story, the women wake up, they are already in the ship. Like there's already so much that's happened, but this doesn't take you through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, cause you don't need to know. The whole point of the story is her when she's played breakdown on this planet, you know?
Yeah.
So I really like that she's just like to the point, let's get it going, let's keep it moving. And I think if it would have been really drawn out a lot, I probably would have been like, okay, this is getting a little ridiculous.
Yeah. And there wasn't like a lot of, even though there were like two entirely different species who didn't speak the same language, there wasn't a lot of like unnecessary misunderstandings or like
it was strangely realistic for well, I mean, maybe except for her waking up with him like eating her out or whatever, but
and being okay
in
with
general,
it.
but in general, like I feel like her reactions in a lot of ways, and then not that I've ever been an alien male with a rigid penis and like
and an extra
horns.
Like thing.
I'm just saying, like, I feel like however she did it, I don't know how to describe it, but whatever she did, it just worked, you know? I think it's the humor that she brought to it, honestly, because how seriously can you really take something like that, you know?
Let us also point out that these aliens are enormous.
Yeah.
They're big aliens. And they're blue. And they have horns in multiple places.
And can I also point out, since you're saying this, and I've just read all these romances, like women are always in these books. They're always like, oh my God, he's so big, he's so well endowed, I don't know how he's gonna fit inside of me, blah blah blah. And I'm sitting there going, okay, this happens in every book. And then we read this one and like, I literally don't know how he's going to fit inside of her.
I'm like, does it feel like you're having a baby?
Yeah, I don't know, but
that doesn't feel good.
Oh my God. That's like seriously what I kept thinking about the whole thing. I was like, all the romances write this stuff, but this is the only one where I literally am like wondering like how this is gonna work.
How does that work?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Apparently really well.
Mm-hmm.
According to Georgie.
Yep. Hey. I mean, if I had to get stuck with an alien, I mean, I would pick him at this point. Why not?
Yeah. Okay, so I also really liked about this book was I was again totally expecting this to be like really light and silly and kind of shallow. I don't know why. That's just what I was expecting. But the like world building was pretty deep and intense, but not in like a wordy like info dump kind of way, but like it was really really well done. Like the culture of the I can't remember what they're called, the blue aliens was very believable for the setting and for how they ended up there. So it wasn't just like they're from that planet. There's a whole backstory that we barely touched on that I'm sure gets explored much more in the other 21 books. And honestly, that backstory and the story of Vectal's people and what's going to happen with the basketball heads and the rest, like the other aliens who actually abducted the women, because the barbarians are not the barbarians. Well, that's what they're, you know, the Ice Planet Barbarians, the big blue aliens that actually have a name that starts with an S or something.
They actually saved these women who crash landed from the ship
they're not
they
the bad guys.
held hostage on.
And they fought off the bad aliens who abducted them, and we don't know where they were being taken in the universe or anything. So I'm imagining there's some like really cool universe and space exploration that happens throughout this, because apparently the blue aliens were stranded several centuries ago on this planet and have since like their culture has since kind of devolved because they don't have access to technology anymore. It's really good, really cool. Like a light touch, but like still really deep.
I agree with that. And you know,
super
me, like,
impressed. So impressed.
It's very easy for me to get confused, and I was like, oh, I like this. This is a good like little buffet of everything. It was
very clear. She made like a really complicated situation really clear.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And she didn't like get like super deep into the tech or explaining how the tech worked, or like one of the first woman who was abducted was given like an earpiece by the bad aliens, and it was a translator, and so automatically have a way for there to be some understanding. And then when Georgie and Vectal are on the like sacred cave or whatever, which is actually their original
This is the blue alien
ship.
that found her and saved her.
Vectal
She
is
was
the
like
good blue
freezing to
alien.
death.
Yeah. So he takes her to their like sacred cave of the whatever gods or something like that. And when that's actually the spaceship that his people crashed in, and it gives her the spaceship gives her the ability to understand him. So it was great. They didn't get into the technology, but you're like, this is future alien tech, so obviously it makes sense.
And what was cool, I liked too about that scene is he didn't realize, like to him it was a cave because it was so many centuries ago that they crash landed. Like he just was there, like that's his home. And so she's the one who was like, what is this light blinking underneath the ice? And so that was a really cool touch. It was definitely very like alien-esque as far as like these like hidden spaceships and stuff. I liked it.
And the setting and descriptions, like I felt like, even though again she's not like super over the top with her descriptions, but I felt like I could picture it clearly. And let me point out, I told LP this, but I was like reading the middle of this book. I was listening to it at Costco, so that's fun. I'm like looking around like, does anybody else know what I'm listening to right now? Because it was like 3 different sex scenes while I was shopping. So yeah, but even so, it was also like really cool descriptions of like locations and places and like the crazy animals on this planet and stuff. And the other thing that's similar to Stargate is they have these, they didn't call them symbiotes, they called them symbionts, I think.
I don't know. Something
whatever the things.
Quay.
I don't know. Anyway, something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah, they're like a glowing worm creature that like goes in their heart or something, and it makes it so they can survive on this planet.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they die.
Yeah.
Die.
Overall, really interesting.
Yeah,
I liked that.
Did you? This question wasn't on here either, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Was there anything you didn't like about the book?
I mean, nothing really comes to mind. It moved pretty quickly. So I'm trying to think of anything that like resonated with me that I didn't particularly like. I can't really think of anything. How about you?
I just think that the rape scene was unnecessary.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, it was interesting. You kind of brought up like where they're gonna go with the
bad aliens.
Yeah, the bad aliens, because it's so weird. They were so prevalent in the very beginning and then they're just gone. Like obviously they crash land, whatever, but we don't know any, like after that, I mean, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. So, yeah, that was interesting.
So like to set the scene for listeners. So Georgie and the other women are abducted. There's another woman who comes on board and is abducted after Georgie, and she doesn't handle it well. And apparently the punishment for screaming is you get like brutally raped by these gross aliens. And it's described in the book as Georgie watches because she feels like somebody has to watch. And like, while I found that like poignant and like heart touching or whatever, I was just like, this is
it really
disturbing.
Necessary?
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing was it the same woman who she found frozen in the snow? Okay.
Yeah. It like broke her.
But even that doesn't really like, what does that offer the story? I don't even know.
I don't know. It did add some darkness to it.
Yeah. I mean, for sure.
I mean, maybe that increased the depth. I don't know. I usually veer away from the rape. It tends to turn me off of a book when there's a pretty graphic rape. But so I feel like also trigger warning for people who if that is a trigger for you, don't read this book.
Yeah.
It's also not essential, like, to understanding the story. So I feel like you could skip over that part.
Yeah, it's definitely not. That's what I was saying. Like, I don't know how necessary it is. Unless, I mean, it's hard to say because who knows if it plays in later in this like series. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
mean, it definitely made those aliens seem terrible. Like, they already seemed terrible, but there's no redemption for them now.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, good point.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about the world building. What order do I want to do this? What did you think of the big blue alien hunks?
I thought it was fun. It's so funny because I think I always
Who, by the way, there's only a few women in their tribe.
yeah, it's
It's a
mostly
lot of single
a lot
male
of men.
blue aliens.
I mean, they pretty much worship women, so I mean, if I had to get stuck with any alien tribe, I would pick them, obviously. I think that overall they were really cool. It's strange ridges that they seem to have all over their body that was kind of weird. I'm like, what made you decide to do those things? Like, I don't know, like the tongue,
Yeah.
penis, even their
Ridged for her pleasure.
but everywhere. Like there were other places too, right? I don't know.
Oh, the female blue aliens nipples are like hard and ridged, I want to
Yeah,
say.
I don't know.
Because so the reason we know this is because Vectel is obsessed with how soft Georgie is, because his people are like tough or rough, or although
Maybe
she does
that's why they
describe
had to
him
do it.
as like velvety, like he has like a downy velvety skin or something.
Hairy, yeah, like
Hairy, but not like Yeti hairy.
yeah.
Like velvet. I don't know.
But I mean, horns is cool. I mean, they're aliens, sure, fine. I can't remember. Did she say their faces they look like people, but obviously they're not because they have horns
Well,
and
he
they're blue.
pointed out that her face was really flat.
I
So they
okay.
must have more protruding.
But I feel like she didn't really describe him different. Like I didn't get like
having
an
like a
animal
maw.
face. Yeah, like a animal face or like a muzzle or anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Basically, he's like the beast, but blue.
Yeah, kind of. That's kind of like maybe less hairy, but that's kind of how I
Maybe just
him
like
too.
a little less beastie, because she is able to they like make out a lot, and I feel like I don't think that the beast could really like.
I don't know,
do
guys.
that.
But overall, like I think the only thing that I thought was really strange is the random ridges everywhere. Like I get the placement, the purpose, like she purposely put ridges in certain areas, like the tongue and the penis for a reason, right? I mean, she's writing a romance, but it was just interesting. And I guess maybe she put him other places because it made sense. Like they wouldn't just have him in those places. But then again, yeah, I don't know.
Yes, these big blue aliens definitely seemed to be developed for women's pleasure.
Yeah. But then what do you expect?
Yes.
But I thought they were cool overall.
Yeah, they were really neat.
And I really like that he wasn't like an alpha. Like he was, but not really.
He was he's the leader of their tribe, which I think maybe is their only people on the planet.
I don't know. Yeah, we don't know that yet. But they're not like, it's kind of silly because like they're called barbarians, but they don't necessarily act that way. Like they're very intuitive and they're very
sensitive, maybe.
Yeah, no, seriously. Like they're like very in tune with like nature and each other and like just their society in general. They didn't come off as barbarian.
Yeah, and like just the fact that so there's 4 adult females in their tribe. They just learned that there's at least 6 women who they believe they can breed with. Their tribe is dying, essentially. And they're still going to give women a choice of whether or not to like stay with them and help them repopulate. Like that doesn't seem very barbarianish to me. Like to be a barbarian or be like, you're doing this.
Yeah. And they like, they regardless, they want to take care of them. They want to keep them warm, give them clothes, give them food, So I don't know. And they're not brutish. I feel like, I guess I just say that because half of the romances that I read, like the modern day male, he's an alpha, he's a dickhead, and that's what everyone likes. Yeah. So I'm just thinking like these barbarians aren't very barbaric, So which is actually kind of refreshing. So.
Yeah. Vectel was very sweet.
Yeah.
And like everything was, he was just like very concerned about Georgie.
Yeah.
like as soon as his qui started resonating for her.
I can say one of the things I enjoyed about his perspective is him trying to understand what she's saying, because they don't speak the same language, and he's just trying to figure out, like, I don't know, through his eyes, trying to figure out what she's saying, what she's doing, trying to describe her and the weird things that with her body and her, because he thinks it's so weird that she has 5 fingers instead of 4, and just stuff like that, which is really funny.
I really liked his perspective and his outsider's look of humans. I thought that was really cool.
He's like, oh, she's so cute, let me teach her.
Little and delicate and soft. And like she's the like not advanced one. She does not understand these things that even a baby knows.
Yeah, a kid or a kid. Yeah,
a kid. So yeah, again, more of the like world building being just really, really well done.
It was. I mean, I'd watch that if it was like a sci-fi show. Yeah. I'd watch that.
Yeah.
I mean,
like our husbands would walk in and be like, "What the fuck are you watching?"
It's just a ribbed tongue. Don't worry about it, okay?
Yeah. So did you have anyone in mind for the casting if this were to be made into an adaptation?
It's hard because we're talking about how the voice just did not go with the picture I had in my head, or I struggled to have a real picture of Georgie in my head because of the voice versus like who she was in the book. I wonder if I would have had a better idea if I just read it, like on paper. Because as far as her, I can't think. I mean, like I said, I know she's not supposed to be Southern Belle, and that's all I can picture in my head. As far as him though, I mean, I feel like I think of like Jason Momoa in the Game of Thrones, and I feel like he would be a good barbarian, quote unquote barbarian.
He was a barbarian, barbarian.
So I just feel like, I mean, he could be a good hot blue guy with horns.
I also feel like I need to say, like, usually horns, I'm not into the horns or the pointy elf ears, but yeah, I did not mind these horns at all. They were not like dwelled on at all.
Yeah. I mean, was there ever a scene where she gripped on? Like, I feel like they're good for gripping. He mentioned that they were sensitive, I want to say. And then there was like that scene where she like was like twirling her finger around the base of his tail or something, and he was like, okay. Oh, but she wasn't doing it sexually, and he was like, I don't think she realizes how much this turned. Yeah. That's funny.
So his Bechdel's people are not afraid of public displays of
sex. Not just affection.
No.
Why? Who did you have anyone picked out for anybody?
I did not picture anyone, but while you were talking, for some reason, and this is gonna seem really random, I could see personality wise, I feel like she fits. I could see Emma Stone for Georgie.
Like sarcastic and snarky.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sarcastic and snarky. That's what Georgie has to be. And then I did look up suggestions, and so for Rahush, a suggestion was Jason Momoa. So that's like the more kind of like broody, brutish blue alien friend. And then the suggestion that I saw for, of course, because he's like everybody's top suggestion for every male lead for Bechdel is Henry Cavill.
Oh, okay.
Which actually I feel like fits really well because he's like a really big dude. People forget that he's a big dude. But he's like very sensitive.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's funny because now that you say like thinking about, because she had blonde hair, right? Georgie had blonde hair.
I think she had brown hair.
Oh, well, either way,
had blonde hair.
It could work either way. But I was thinking who would be good for Georgie would be Florence
Pugh.
Is that her. She might be really good. She would be like feisty. Like, I feel like she could be really feisty.
In Black Widow.
Mm-hmm.
God, her character was the best.
She's good in everything. I've seen her in so many things now, and she's just such an amazing actress. So but that would be that'd be a different one for her for sure. She's like, I'm in this new movie, and I'm gonna have sex with a blue alien with horns.
A lot. A lot.
Anyway.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So, will you continue with the series?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't gone out and bought the second one, but if I have a lull, I might try the second one and see. But it's not like on my must read now.
Yeah. I have the second matching
oh, fun.
One of these. So I might pull that out if I'm feeling like a physical book read. I don't know. I'm curious to see. I'm assuming it's a different narrator because Liz is not Southern. If she's the second person who the book or the book who whatever second protagonist, second book's main whatever, you know what I mean, main character.
Yeah, no,
book two.
I mean.
So
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, like I said, I already have the book, so. I really am curious to see where it goes. And they're such nice little quick reads. It's really, really.
And I think they're like palate cleansers. I think that's kind of where I'm at. I have so many paperbacks that I really want to start reading again now that I have some time. And I want to get back on BookTok. And so I was all these books that I bought because of that. So I'm going to read them. I'm going to review them and I'm going to put them on BookTok. Damn it. That's why I bought them. So I think for me, that's my focus now that I have some time. But I will definitely, it would be, because I don't know what yours was, because my speed might be a little bit faster than yours, but mine, I mean, the listen was only like 5.5 hours or 6 hours. So super short.
I think that on normal speed, 1.0 speed, I think it's 5.5 hours.
Yeah. So
did you speed it up?
I have mine. I don't know. Does it change with every book you?
No, if you set it ahead.
Yeah. So mine's a little bit. It's probably like 1.1 or 1.15 or something like that. But yeah. But yeah. So overall, like I don't speed them up a lot, but I do tend to sometimes. So anyway, yeah. I mean, like I said, palate cleanser for sure. Just definitely a fun one you can just listen to in the background while you're doing something. Yeah. And not have to worry about missing some epic detail.
Totally would recommend this if you're into like spicy speculative fiction. Even if you don't think you're into sci-fi, I feel like it works.
I mean, yeah, you just have to be able to obviously suspend, reality, and you have to be into any sort of spiciness, because otherwise you'll just think it's absolutely stupid and you won't,
Yeah, and not be grossed out by like big hot blue aliens. With interesting penises that are designed for her pleasure.
Yeah.
So
anyway, that was a fun one though. Definitely different from what we normally read. So
yeah. Do you have any final thoughts?
I don't. No, sorry. Nothing poignant.
Cool.
As if I've ever said anything poignant ever in my life.
I'm sure you have. Okay, so thank you for listening, everybody. Don't forget to check out the show notes for this episode's links and book recommendations, and I will put my Discord link in there. So if you want to check out the AI art, you are welcome to do that. And LP, you are welcome to post AI art in my channels if you want.
Thank you.
If people are heading there to look at it. If you have anything for our 2 series that we have written together. Fun. And we will be back in a couple weeks to chat about our next adaptation, which is fun because I have both read the book and watched the adaptation already. But I think I'm going to rewatch it because it was really, really fun. So this is The Duke and I by Julia Quinn, and the Netflix series Bridgerton.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've watched the show, but I haven't read the book, and I know they're very different, so I'm excited to see.
I'm really excited too to rewatch season 1 because I haven't watched. Is there only 2 seasons out now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't watched season 2 yet. So
fun. Yeah, I've watched them both. So
I know people seemed to really love season 2. Or seemed like a love-hate situation.
Yeah, it is. I think it's not as steamy. I think it's great. I think it's great, but a lot of people are like, there's not a lot of sex. And I'm like, well, it's called slow burn. So, not everybody just wank, It doesn't happen immediately, Not always.
If you want to find some insta love, you should read Ice Planet Barbarians.
Yes. Like I said, she wakes up to phenomenal
Oral sex.
Anyway, yes.
Descriptive, extremely descriptive. Okay, so if you enjoy the show, we would love it if you left us a review on iTunes and or anywhere else that you listen that allows for reviews. I still don't think anywhere else does, and it might only be iTunes. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
And don't forget to join the No Shelf Control Facebook group that we are still terrible about posting in, but we'll probably get better at maybe sometime. You never know. It could happen. Which will also be linked to in the show notes. And until next time, happy reading.
Cheers.